Howdy friends, welcome back to another edition of
Slow Cooker Sunday.
On today's menu, I'm going to be sharing with you what's got to be one of the absolute easiest set it and forget it recipes you can do inside of a slow cooker. Let's go inside and get started. In today's cook, we're going to be making what's called Coca-Cola barbecue styled country ribs, also known as Coke ribs. This is such an easy, no-brainer recipe. We're going to start with 3.5 pounds of loin country style bone-in ribs, as well as 1 can of classic Coca-Cola, a little bit of salt and pepper for flavoring. And after it's done, garnish it off with our favorite barbecue sauce. Now, I don't need to remind you, anytime you're working with raw meats, disposable gloves every single time. Today we're working with bone-in country style ribs, 3.5 pounds of it. The difference between that and the boneless is they're going to take longer to cook. It's about mid-morning right now, so we want to get them in there and get them started. But the boneless actually aren't going to be quite as tender as the bone-in. The bone is going to retain that, and once we're done, these things will be falling off the bone as it is. So let's go ahead and get these started and open them up and put them inside of the slow cooker. Oh yes, look at them babies right there. Ho, 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 ho. Let's get them in there. Let's not rinse any of these off because we do not want to take bacteria and spread them around the kitchen. Come right out of the package and try to place them as close together as we possibly can. Now, if you have an oval slow cooker, these may end up fitting in a little bit better, but I don't happen to have the luxury of having one of those oval style. So this is how we're going to fit them all in here. Got 6 of them, and look how they sit in there absolutely perfect. Let's add the next ingredient. Now, some of you folks out there that may have some diabetic problems or have to watch your sugar and stuff, this is probably not the recipe for you. We're going to add a single can of original Coca-Cola. I'm going to tell you the reason why behind that. You can't substitute this for a Diet Coke or a Coke Zero or anything like that. And the reason why is we're not trying to extract the flavor of the Coca-Cola. We're trying to extract the sugar out of there, which is going to absorb into this nice fine cuts of meat and make it tender. Crack some pepper in there. This is just for flavoring. Put as much as you desire in there. There's no real measurement on this. I like pepper on everything. Okay. And we're going to finish it off with a little bit of salt, regular table salt. Not a whole lot. We don't want salty ribs. That's going to help with the process, and it's going to help the yin and yang between the sweet and the savory and stuff. Now we're going to close this up, and we're going to set it for 6.5 hours to 7 hours on slow cook. Now, one step I failed to share with you guys: before you start this cook with the ribs, make sure to spray the inside of that cooker with some non-stick oil, because once that thing heats up over the hours and stuff, all that Coca-Cola and stuff's going to start caramelizing, and it could stick down to the bottom of that pan, making for a very messy cleanup. Speaking of slow cooking, we're in the 80s here in Florida today. I've got my usual Sunday chores we need to take care of, so enjoy your day, and I'll catch up to you later when we get ready for the rest of the cook. Alright, so we're about an hour in on this cook. Let's have a look. Ooh, see? They've already lost that reddish coloration. It doesn't look like Coca-Cola down there at all. It smells very, very good. Like I said, there's no real seasonings in here. That'll come at the end. And I've already put a fork in there, and they are not tender at all. They got a long ways to go. Okay, so our ribs have reached an eternal temperature of 145, and I've turned them off, and they're just kind of sitting there until we get back to them for our last part of the cook. In the meanwhile, we're going to be making a delicious side of mine. If any of you have been following my channel for any time at all, a couple years ago I made this recipe. It's Southern pan fried cabbage. We're going to start with a pound of Applewood thick sliced bacon. We're going to go ahead and cut these into pieces. Alright, next for our side, we're going to take the main course of the side, which is a whole head of cabbage. And we're going to cut this up into chunks and stuff and leave out that hard and all the bad goodness and stuff. And once I get this processed, I'll get right back to you. Now we got some dancing partners for our tasty side. We're going to go outside, set up the Coleman propane camp stove, and we're going to get this bacon going first. Alright, we're going to take that bacon off of there. Set it down in some paper towels and drain that grease down off of it. Next we're going to take our cabbage right in that same bacon grease and throw it in there. Next we're going to take 1/3 of a cup of sugar, Louisiana Cajun seasoning, a little bit, and top it all off with a bit of a splash of some beef stock. So now we got those ingredients all set in here. We're going to allow this thing to simmer. I'm going to stir it around just a little bit, add up all that sugar and the bacon fat, pepper, broth, and Louisiana Cajun seasoning and stuff. And this stuff will render itself down into a nice tasty deal. Now you don't want this stuff, this cabbage, to be mushy. Still got to have a little bit of a bite to it, but that's why we added all that juice in there, and we cut it up the way we have it right now, because once this is done, this is going to be absolutely amazing. Okay, now that our cabbage has rendered its way down to almost the end of the cook, I'm going to add that bacon back in there just like that. Kind of just stir it up with the rest of it. And leave this on here for about another 10 minutes. Then we're going to take it off, put it in a bowl, and set it aside in the microwave until we're done with the ribs. Alright, now that we've got our southern pan-fried cabbage already ready to go, it's up in the microwave and stuff, we're going to nice and carefully pull those Coca-Cola barbecue country style ribs out of the slow cooker, because they are going to be nice and tender, and I don't want them falling apart in a big mush pile and stuff. We're going to set them down on counter on top of some aluminum foil, and then we're going to lather them with some tasty barbecue sauce. Ooh, easy as she goes. Oh, that smells so good. Now at this point in the game, you guys could probably take these and slide them inside of the oven at about 375, about 15 minutes, just to let that caramelize. Remember, they're cooked. We're not putting them in there to cook anymore. We just want them to caramelize that sauce to the rib and to add some color. But in this case, because I don't use my oven in my RV, we got that Weber old kettle grill out there up to temperature. We're going to throw these on a little grate, and we're going to do that on the grill. Ooh. Oh my goodness, I think I may have outdone myself this time. Look at them babies. Oh, we got to get some of this in our belly now. Oh my goodness. Have a look at that. Look at those Coke ribs and the southern pan-fried cabbage. Oh, we got to try some of this. I can't eat too much because it's not time for dinner yet. By the time you guys see this video, though, I'm sure I'll already have a whole plate full. Let's give that a try. Oh, yes, sir. Look at that fall off the freaking bone tender. Holy cow. Ooh, yummy.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Let me show you. There's the bone. It's gone. Right off the bone.
Sit up. Oh, that sauce caramelized beautifully. Look at that. Oh my goodness.
Oh, we gotta try some more. Look at that tasty morsel. Oh.
Very happy taste buds.
Some of that southern pan-fried cabbage? Why, yes, please. Oh, look at the bacon just dripping off there. Oh. that savory taste that the beef broth brings to it with the bacon. It ain't spicy. There's nothing spicy about this food. Oh my goodness. That's going to do it for this edition of Slow Cooker Sunday. Thanks for hanging out and watch me stuff my face with delicious Coca-Cola barbecue country styled ribs and a side of southern pan fried cabbage. I'm speechless. You saw what I used. There's nothing fancy. It was an easy meal while I was able to take care of my chores on a Sunday afternoon. Got any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, I'll see you all in the next adventure. Take care.